Hello and welcome to the Ready to Bloom podcast with your host Holly Wharton. Ready to Bloom helps heart-centered women entrepreneurs to overcome their fears, blocks, and limiting beliefs so they can be more successful in business. As a heart-centered business owner, you do amazing work. Holly's mission in life is to help you help more people. Help us help more women in business with a quick review of this podcast. It just takes a minute to leave one today over at iTunes. The more women who find out about this podcast, the more we can help women in business. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Ready to Bloom podcast, episode 78. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm here with today's special guest, Jenn Scalia. Jenn is a confidence catalyst for coaches and entrepreneurs who are ready to become more visible in their business so they can be seen, heard, and paid for doing what they love. She helps them get clarity, confidence, and crush self-doubt so they can make more money and finally live the lifestyle they crave. Welcome, Jenn.
Hi, Holly. How are you?
Great. It's good to speak with you.
You too. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here today because I think confidence is such a huge thing for women in business. It's like even if you technically know your thing that you do, so many times the confidence thing just stops us in our tracks.
You're absolutely correct. And, for me, it happened to me as well. And, my first year of business. And, I was able to overcome that and realize that it didn't matter how many tools I had and, how much knowledge I had and how good I was. But without that confidence, I wasn't getting anywhere. I was just spinning my wheels.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit about your background and your business journey and how you got to where you are today.
Awesome. So it's actually a really fun and quirky and just a roller coaster of a ride, I guess you can say. I started actually back in 2013 where I actually decided I wanted to have my own business. I was laid off twice from corporate jobs and I was just like, enough is enough. I'm tired of, banking on this like corporate job and I just want to make my own income. I want to have full control over my life and, what I was doing with it and not being scared that I was going to be let go of a job or not have enough money to pay my bills. So I decided that I wanted to, be a life coach. I actually took B school in 2013. Mm-hmm. And for the whole first year of my business, I did absolutely nothing. I built a website and that was pretty much it.
Well, let's start.
I worked on my website every single day. But I never put myself out there because I was so nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what people would think about, me being a life coach and, just how my real life people would react to me starting an online business. So I never put myself out there. I never asked for clients. I didn't even have packages on my website. So really, I was just like this motivational, inspirational person. I started like an Instagram page and all of that stuff, but I just didn't put myself out there in business because I didn't have the confidence. Mm. And, that went on for quite some time. It went on for about a year. And the beginning of 2014, I actually decided to just step it up and face my fears. And really, it came at a time where I hit rock bottom. Mm. Like I didn't have a choice. I couldn't pay my bills. I was being kicked out of my house. Like I had to either go for it or get a job.
Yeah. So and that's pretty terrifying sometimes having to go back and get a job.
Exactly. So, I decided to go for it and I really just took all the knowledge and the tools that I had already that, all these courses and these classes and everything that I had taken for the previous year and I actually started to put it into action and, I'm an introvert, so a lot of people don't believe me when I say that because I'm like all over the place now, but I was just nervous about putting myself out there. So I just had to put that aside. I knew I had to put it aside in order for me to be successful. And, I got my first client in February of 2014. And this year I'm like totally rocking it. Like I'm so excited for where my business is going. And, the transformation as far as like what I do, I actually started as just a general life coach. Moved into more relationship coaching. Mm-hmm. And then I decided that I was kind of tired of hearing about people's relationships. And I also just figured, after, working with all these women for the past 9 months, it was like, I was never really talking about the relationship. It was always about their self-worth. It was always about their self-esteem and their confidence. So in December of this year, I kind of rebranded, and now I am teaching confidence, which is what I've been doing all along, but I was just kind of trying to gain my footing. So now I'm there. I'm really excited. I'm happy about what I'm doing. I feel really aligned, and it's going really well.
Excellent. So would you say that confidence was one of the biggest challenges for you as you were building your business then?
Absolutely. And it's weird too, because I always had confidence, in other areas of my life. I had no problem, saying what I wanted when it came to relationships. And, I was really good in school and, throughout my education. And, I was confident that, I had something to offer. But, I don't really know where exactly that fear came from when it came to actually having my own business. And maybe it came from actually having to own it.
Yeah.
And that it was all me. So if I screwed up, it was me.
Yes.
if I failed, it was me. If I succeeded, it was all me. So that was a lot of pressure.
Yep. There's no hiding when you go into business for yourself.
No, not at all.
So tell me a little bit about the clients that you work with. How is lack of confidence a problem for them in their business?
Lack of confidence is actually, you just actually said the word, they're hiding. They're hiding in their business. So they have a business and they are really good at what they do, but they're just not comfortable putting it out there. So, they may be active in like Facebook groups and things like that. They have a website. They maybe have, a few clients, but they're not putting stuff on like their personal page because they're ashamed, of what their real life people would think. When they go out to events, they just have a hard time like saying like, this is what I do. So it's keeping them playing small. They're not so aligned with what they do that they're out there just like, this is what I do. I'm standing tall in it. And that affects their business.
Of course, because who wants to work with someone that's not really convinced in what they're doing?
Right. And it's comes across as like inauthentic.
Yep.
And, I say too, it's kind of like you're living like a double life. You have this life where you're online and, people kind of know what you do, but, the rest of the world has no clue. They're scared to put themselves out there, on video, on social media, and things that are really going to skyrocket them and get them the clients that they want. It's so they're just kind of coasting with their business.
And do they often know that it's the lack of confidence that's holding them back, or they just feel like, I have this business and it's not working and I have no clue what it is?
I think that, they may not know completely. They think that, maybe I just take another course or I just hire this coach, or if I just do this other program, like then everything's going to kind of come together. And it never will. It never does, because they already have the knowledge. They don't need that. They need the absolute faith and belief in themselves that they have something amazing to offer. And they have to have the courage and the confidence to go out there and let their people know that they exist.
Yeah, and that can be really, really scary.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it's all a lot too. I come across is people who just compare a lot.
Yeah.
So in the social media world, we see only the good stuff. We see 10K months and 6-figure businesses and 7-figure businesses, and we don't see the backstory. So we don't see how much that person worked, how much that person struggled to get to where they are. All we see is, well, am I good enough?
Yeah.
And also, well, somebody's already doing that, so how am I going to be valuable? What's going to set me apart? So there's a lot of comparison going on there with a lot of my clients, and that, just makes their self-esteem even worse.
Yeah, it's just so easy to do because, especially if you belong to a lot of the private Facebook groups that I think so many of us are on for business, as you said, there's so many women celebrating the fantastic months that they've had, but it's like, we don't see how long it's taken them to get to that point.
Exactly. And I am like super vulnerable, and I always, have been able to attract people because I'm so real, and I have been very real with my story and how I went from like 0 and struggling, and not even, less than 0. Just a few months ago, before I actually had that realization, I was scraping pennies to like pay my kids' tuition for school, and, I went from that, and the transformation was fast. but it was just kind of like a light bulb went off. You know, it wasn't that I did anything different. It was my mindset. I totally changed the way I thought about things and the way I looked at things.
And how did you go about changing your mindset?
I actually did work with a coach who pretty much changed my life. I totally adore her. And, you know, we did a lot of mindset stuff, just working through those blocks, working through those fears. And I even say, I'm just like, you know, I don't think that I technically learned anything new, or she didn't tell me anything that I didn't already know, but she helped me with the mental stuff and with the fear. And that just made a huge difference in my business and my income and the types of people that are reaching out to me that want to work with me.
Excellent. Excellent. That's so fantastic. And I think it's so important as a coach to see a coach yourself, because
absolutely.
You've got to invest in your business and you've got to kind of walk the walk that you're trying to sell.
Yeah. And that's, you know, you make an important point. And it was like, you know, I was making these like smaller investments, you know, taking like $497 courses and, you know, $197 courses. And, you know, this was the biggest investment that I've ever made. I mean, I'm still paying her off. It was, you know, I mean, a huge investment. It wasn't even like a $3,000 or $4,000 coach. I mean, it was almost 5 figures that I paid her. And I found a way. And making that investment in myself and having that belief in myself that I would be able to pay this coach and that I was going to make, you know, more than enough to cover my expenses and thrive. And I did exactly that.
Excellent. Excellent. So great to hear that coaching has made such a huge difference.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you work with clients to help them get confidence and clarity and crush self-doubt, because everyone wants a little bit of that.
And, you know, that's the thing. It's like, we go deep. So, you know, it may seem like it's just, you know, comparing yourself and, you know, seeing other people in the groups and thinking you're not good enough, but it really is more than that. So we work to just uncover like where it's really coming from. Like, where is this fear really coming from? What are you really afraid of? Why aren't you putting yourself out there? Why aren't you, you know, reaching out to potential clients? Like, so we start there, you know, uncovering that kind of stuff. So that way we can acknowledge it, which I think is the key, is to really just realize, you know, what it is that's stopping you, so that we can work towards like mitigating that and saying, okay, well, what's the worst case scenario? You know, let's crush it. Let's think of the absolute worst case scenario, because it's not going to be that 9 times out of 10. And then also working towards just building themselves up and really recognizing how amazing they are. One thing that I have, you know, all my clients do, and I also do a free challenge where it involves this, is actually making like a brag list of all the things that are amazing about you and all the things that you've accomplished. Because if you're anything like me, you usually don't celebrate. You know, accomplishments. You're just like, oh, well, yeah, I did that. You know, so it's really about focusing in on what you have accomplished, how awesome you are, what makes you unique, what makes you you.
Yeah. And I think it's so easy to overlook, and I think so few people do it. I mean, even something as simple as creating like a document or a list or a printout of your testimonials from your clients can be so helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually one thing I learned from my coach, was to actually have, you know, like a file where I had all these testimonials and praise, so that I could actually remind myself like, hey, I am worth it, you know, and I can charge this amount and people will pay for my services. And, you know, just that constant reminder, because there's so much noise that sometimes we get overwhelmed with that and forget about the good stuff.
Yeah, and it's so easy to let ourselves get down, either because we're comparing ourselves to other people or just because, you know, the stuff that comes up in business just overwhelms us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're working with clients and you're going kind of digging deep and trying to get back into the stuff from their past and try to figure out where this lack of confidence really comes from, do you have exercises that you do to work with them, or how do they get to that? Because I think sometimes it can be so easy to get down to that kind of core of where it all started.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is like my favorite part of like working with clients. You know, I love getting on the phone with them and, you know, chatting and all of that stuff. But like my homework, I guess you can call it, is, you know, after we get on the calls, like based on what we talked about, I always send my clients like their homework and their questions. And these questions that I send to them are really what makes them dig deep. Like there are questions that they've never asked themselves before, that they've never asked, been asked before. And it really gets them thinking about like the core of like where this stuff is coming from and why.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that.
Yeah, that's excellent. So do you have a core set of questions that you send to everyone, or do you tailor them to each person depending on what's come up in the sessions?
I tailor them just because everybody's so different.
Yeah.
It could be, simple things like, just comparing themselves to other people. It could be worse, it could be things that happened to them in their childhood or, beliefs that they're instilled by their parents, different things like that. So I always like to customize everything to that particular person.
Excellent. So what is one thing that our listeners could do today to start kind of letting go of that stuff from the past and getting more confidence in themselves and their business?
So like I said, I love the brag list,
Good.
And keep that ongoing, have it in the notes on your phone or, have it in your notebook. And every time something amazing happens to you or you do something amazing or you have an accomplishment or somebody gives you a compliment, write it down. Remind yourself. And another thing, with confidence, my number one thing is really just to be yourself. I think that, we lose confidence and we lose self-esteem because we are trying to be somebody that we think we're supposed to be, as opposed to just being ourselves. And then when we don't meet those expectations of that quote unquote perfect person or that person we're supposed to be, then it's like, now it's back to the drawing board and am I good enough? And, all that stuff starts coming up, but you're good enough the way you are. And, just really be yourself, be humble, be vulnerable, and be real.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think also if you're pretending to be someone that you're not going to be attracting the right clients to you. You're going to be attracting the right clients for that fake person that doesn't really exist.
Yeah, and then that just makes the business, turn sour because then you're not enjoying your work. And why did you get into this in the first place? It's because you want to do something that you love. It's because you want to create a certain lifestyle. It's because you want to be your own boss. It's because you want to go on vacation tomorrow and not have to worry. It's all in alignment. And I felt like for me, like that's where it all clicked is because I had, I was one person here, I was one person there. And when I finally got it to click and everything just aligned, it was like beautiful.
And how did that happen for you? Because I think that can be really, really challenging, especially for the people who have had, jobs or other businesses that weren't in alignment with their values. It's like you can live your life for so many years just not being authentic, and then how do you even find yourself again? How did that work for you?
Yeah, and it really did have a lot to do with surrounding myself with people who supported me and who believed in me. I, like most entrepreneurs, your quote unquote real life people don't understand what you're doing. They don't get it. They don't, understand why you're charging that much. They don't understand, how you can make a living. So, actually having like a core group of other entrepreneurs that were there to just fully support me in everything that I did was magical. And also having a teacher who was my coach. So I just always say like a good teacher and an awesome support tribe.
Yeah, that's excellent. And that support tribe, did you get that through B School or was that elsewhere?
I actually, B School got a little overwhelming for me. So I actually, through my coach, she actually had a private group with just her one-on-one clients, and it was a small group, and I found some really good friends in there and people that were totally supportive, and we would always just help each other out, and it was amazing, and it wasn't overwhelming like some of the other groups.
Yeah, some of the groups can be so large that it's like there's so much going on in there and you just can't keep up with it all.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how you work with clients. You've got a couple of different programs. You've got your 12-week program, and then you've got your Shake It Up sessions.
Yeah, so my main thing is to actually work with somebody a little bit longer term. So that's, my 12-week, my 90-day program where we actually go in and like I was explaining earlier, we kind of, dig up the old shit and, figure out ways to get rid of it and to disprove it, really, because half the time it's not even true and it's stuff that we're believing,
Yeah.
So we go into that, really go into, just having that confidence and overwhelming confidence in yourself as to what you're doing, what you're delivering to your clients, your value, and just having that in place so that you can go out and tell people what you do, and you can go and have clarity calls and discovery sessions with clients and feel 100% comfortable with, offering your services at the end. I work with them to also help them get confidence in putting themselves out there in social media. Mm-hmm. Another big thing for me is the visibility and vulnerability. So actually using your story and using, your failures and your past to kind of start attracting people that want to work with you, your dream clients. And, having the right combination of all of that will actually help them not have to go chase people, and not have to go into all these Facebook groups and do Facebook ads and just promote. Their people will actually just come to them because they're falling in love with them. They're seeing what they're doing. They're being real. They're being honest and vulnerable. So it's really all about, just putting all those pieces together and being confident in who they are.
Mm. And I don't know if you find this true with your clients, but I think sometimes blogging and getting into that kind of getting used to being vulnerable and opening up online on your blog, whether it's written or video, that can really, not only, as you said, help attract clients to you, but it can really help you get in touch with who you are and what makes you unique and what makes you different from everyone else and what you have to offer.
Absolutely. And I mentioned that I had started doing like relationship coaching, and that actually came from, my personal experiences dealing with some pretty crappy relationships and, being able to overcome that and still, thrive in spite of that. I'm 30, I'll be 34 next month actually, and going through my second divorce, so I used all those tools, and I was really open about how it affected me and, how it changed me and how it helped me be a better person. And people loved that. I was relatable. I was somebody that, wasn't just preaching to the choir, but I lived it and I was able to overcome it. So, it gives them the assurance that they can do it too.
And I think, yeah, exactly. Showing people that you've been through that, you've been through the same stuff that they're suffering from, and you've come out to the other side, I think gives people so much more confidence in you and your ability to help them solve their problems.
Absolutely.
So you also have the Shake It Up sessions. How do those work?
Yeah, those are a little bit different. So that's kind of like, a 90-minute powwow. That's actually just getting down to it and coming up with a blueprint for, from A to Z, like where they need to be in their business, who they need to be in their business. And, I work with entrepreneurs, but it's not business coaching. So I don't ever talk about logistics, like, what should be on your website or your packages or anything like that. But it's really more about how they're showing up in their business, who they are, according to their clients, what their clients are seeing. So we help them come up with a plan, as far as, what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be sending out their content. So, are they going to be blogging? Are they going to be podcasting? Are they going to be doing video? And actually getting them like really comfortable with that, being able to go out there and tell people what they do and be visible and be totally comfortable with that.
Excellent. So it's kind of a jump start to confidence.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not business coaching, so it's, it's like past business 101. Like, it's really just like, what? You have all these tools. How are we going to put that all together and make this, like, beautiful piece of art?
Excellent. And do you mostly work with coaches, or what types of business owners do you work with?
Usually coaches. Yeah, I prefer to work with coaches, I guess maybe because I'm a coach. Yep. So, I kind of know the ins and outs of the industry and how people react to certain coaches. And, I've been, in the groups and pretty active and visible. So, yeah, I prefer to work with coaches, but any kind of online entrepreneur.
Yeah. And you've got a couple of free offers that are really juicy. Tell us a little bit about your 7-day challenge.
I love my 7-day challenge. Actually, we just restarted it today. But that is another like kind of quick boost to confidence. So each day we have an actionable step, something that they actually have to do, something that they have to go into my Facebook group or on Instagram and actually declare. And public accountability, and we have everyone in the group is very, very supportive. Everybody's open, honest. I mean, it's really great because I'm able to really get inside their heads as to like where their fears are coming from, what their biggest fears are, what their struggles are. It's really amazing. And you kind of uncover a lot about yourself too.
Excellent. That sounds good. And you've also got a quiz, which is very juicy and fun. I love quizzes.
Yeah,
so.
that was exciting.
Tell us about that. I just did that this afternoon when I was checking your website out my last time.
Did you take the quiz?
Yes, I did.
What did you get?
I got Pioneer.
So did I.
Oh.
And it's so funny because I actually created the quiz and I thought I was going to get Rebel. And I ended up getting Pioneer. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm on the right path. But yeah, so the quiz is super fun. It's, I think, like 7 or 8 questions, but it's really about how other people see you. Because a lot of times, like, we may think we're putting off this, like, vibe or that other people see us a certain way, and it's completely different than how people actually see us. So the quiz is to kind of let you know, like, how other people are seeing you, and, you know, in business, in relationships, in social circles. So it's really interesting and fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love quizzes. So when I saw that, I was like, yes, I'm going to play. So, Jenn, can you tell us, do you have any women business mentors? Are there any women in business who inspire you?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I love my group of girls. Like I said, I have that core group of women, but definitely I have to give props to my coach, Becky Dickson. Mm-hmm. She just totally changed my life. She's amazing. And actually, I'm working with like 3 coaches right now. I think I'll always have a coach or a mentor. I think it's vital. I think, you know, the greatest have always had coaches, right? Football, basketball, whatever it is, like the greatest in sports always had coaches. Yeah. And I feel that, you know, it's necessary to have somebody on your team, like Team Jenn.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. And so we've talked a little bit about how other women in business can benefit from working with you. Where can people find you online?
Okay, I am online on my website at jenscalia.com. I am also all over Facebook as far as like in the groups and stuff. My Facebook page is actually just Jenn Scalia. And I'm also on Instagram. Instagram is actually my favorite social media platform right now. And I'm at Jenn Scalia on Instagram as well. And I will also mention that I have been dubbed the Instagram goddess.
Ooh,
and I do actually offer Instagram training for coaches as well.
Excellent. That's such a great idea, because I think so many coaches think, you know, I don't have a product. How the heck am I going to represent, you know, my business or, you know, visually?
I've gotten a lot of paying clients off of Instagram, believe it or not. I have grown my list from 300 to over 3,000 in just a few short months. I have a huge following of over, I think it's almost 30,000 now. So it's great. It's a great platform. I encourage everybody to get on it.
Yeah, I love it, especially for people who are naturally visual. I think it's just really juicy because you just get, you know, little simple updates from people, and it's just
exactly. It's fun. It's simple. It's easy. It's great.
And it's beautiful. So, Jenn, do you have any last tips or anything else that you'd like to share with us about confidence and how to just crush that self-doubt and move forward in our businesses?
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to reiterate some things that I did say already. Perfect. But really, find your tribe. Find those people who are willing to support you no matter what, because there's so many people out there, you know, including people that are close to you, will tear you down and will kind of make you rethink your dreams. So surround yourself with people who believe in you, who believe in your dreams, and who will support you, and really invest in yourself. Like I mentioned earlier, it changed my life. It really changed my life, actually taking the leap and believing that, you know, investing in myself would make a difference. And it totally did. So, you know, I know there's a lot of great free resources and things like that out there, which is perfect and it's great. But, you know, really invest in yourself. Get yourself a coach. Get yourself a mentor. It will change your life.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Holly.
Excellent, and thank you for listening, and remember to visit readytobloom.com/78 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Ready to Bloom podcast with your host, Holly Wharton. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to head over to iTunes and leave us a quick review of this podcast. Thank you.